Hi everyone. Today I am going to tell you a short story from Vikram and Betal. So let me begin my story. This is a short one and let me begin. Once again, King Vikram carried the corpse on his shoulder. At that time, the Betal who possessed the corpse said, "O King Vikramaditya, I feel pity on you. Why you are uh, doing this effort unceasingly? And for whom?" But King Vikramaditya kept quiet. Then the Betal said, "Well, I am going to tell you a story. If you won't answer my question, then your head will break into 1,000 pieces. Now listen to my story." Betal began his story. Kisanagar, the ruler of Kisanagar, named Rajendra, was a very strong and courageous king. He loved his people and very much cared about his people too. That is why the people of Kisanagar were very happy and content. His wife Prema gave birth to a beautiful girl whose name was Sona. In due course of time, Sona grew up and she was very studious and not only good in studies, she was also expert in warfare. She knew all types of weapons, how to use it, and especially bow and arrow, and sword also. When she reached at her marriageable age, her parents began searching a suitable husband for her. At that time, Sona said, "I will marry to that person who is a very skilled one in fighting, and he has to overpower me in a fight. Otherwise, I am not going to marry." And you know why? Because if in future any enemy will attack our kingdom, he has to defeat them. That's why. The king and queen were very proud of their daughter's thought, and they announced this news in their kingdom as well as the neighboring kingdoms. Thinking Sona as a girl, so many princes just accepted her challenge because they thought that Sona is a girl, she could be defeated very easily. But when they met her face to face, they realized that it is too difficult to win over her. And one after another, she just defeated the princess. While she was fighting, at that time, a prince named Udayavarma, he observed all the strategy that Sona used during the fighting, particularly a typical type of way she was using her swords. So one day while Udayavarma was watching in the crowd the fighting of Sona, out of excitement, he said, "Bravo!" And immediately Sona turned her face to look who gave that comment. She had hardly any glimpse of that person. Then but she couldn't see his face properly. That day was over. The next day, Udayavarma came to face Sona in the sword fight. As he learned all the strategy of Sona, he used the same method while fighting with her. And at last, and none of them were ready to surrender to another. At last, Udayvarma defeated Sona. Then, as per her promise, the challenge, Udayvarma came to the king and queen. That time, Sona looked at his face and she had a doubt, as if since she couldn't see his face on the crowd very well, at that time she asked him if he was the person who gave the comment. And Udayvarma confessed. Then she said, "Do you think that I can marry you?" And Udayvarma thought for a while. He could understand why Sona put this question to him. He said, "No, princess, I agree with you. I cannot marry you." And he just saying this, he went away. But her parents were very much surprised. They thought that Sona announced that anybody who would defeat her would marry her. Then why she didn't agree to marry when Udayvarma achieved this victory? They were very much surprised. But Sona said to her parents, he knows why I denied her to accept him as my husband. They said nothing. At that time, Betal asked, "O King Vikramaditya, I think Sona became very proud of her warfare, and day by day, after defeating the princess one after another, she had become too arrogant. Otherwise, Udayvarma had achieved the target. Then why she didn't agree to marry him?" Then Vikramaditya said, "It is very simple." "Now how?" Then Vikramaditya said, "Look, Udayvarma in a normal way couldn't defeat Sona. He learnt the method, the style, the strategy, whatever Sona followed, like a disciple gets learned from his or her teacher. So in this case, Sona refused him because he is just like a disciple, a student of her. A teacher cannot marry a student. And that is why when she refused, Udayvarma also understood the reason of her denial. And as you asked me, in my opinion, a teacher should not marry to his or her student." Now Betal smiled, laughed, and again flew back to the tree. Thank you. This one is a very short story, and next time, either with a Mahabharata story or King Vikram and Betal or my own original story, I will meet you. Till then, thank you so much.